welcome to my channel. I would like to start with a new series. This is an op299 composed by Czerny. I haven't personally really played this series before, so I would like to just start by filling in the gaps that haven't been played, and I would like to share what I find in the series for your reference and just as my record. So this piece is basically, or actually this series is focused on speed and agility. And in this first piece, it's basically running notes on the right hand. It has typical scale passages in descending and ascending. So we have this kind of scales, and we have some repeating patterns. And these are in the bar 9 to 11. We also have some, maybe we can call it some kind of detours, ascending passages, like in the bar 13. When we go up, we will go down a bit, and then after we climb up for some time, we go down again, and then we go down again, and then we go down again. So I think that basically sums up what is characteristic in this first piece. And when we practice, so firstly on the scalar passages, I think the focus is not on the notes itself, but more it's on the fingering and your ability to apply the same kind of fingering wherever we start. So if we start, for example, on an F, we can still use the same scalar fingering. Whenever we start like on D, we can still call for the same kind of fingering. So what is this fingering? This is actually just the scales fingering, which means whenever you finish with the fingers, you turn to the 3, finish with the fingers, and then you turn to the 4, and then you go with the 3 and 4 and 3, etc. This is a very typical scale fingering alternations. So I think if you have this flexibility in mind, that wherever you start, then you can just reflexively finish with that fingering, I think then you get the point of this practice. The same goes with the ascending passages. Every time it spans over 2 octaves. So when you go up, it's the same thing. You go to the 3, then you change the fingerings, finish everything almost, and then when it comes to the 4, then you change the fingerings again. So then 3 and 4. This is typically taught in any graded exams, so I will not go in depth how to think the 3 and 4s. But yeah, this is the point of the first 10 bars. So after we finish all these very typical scales, then we come with some repeating patterns. I think this kind of patterns is quite difficult to grasp if you don't have a soft or flexible joint. I mean a relaxed joint. So you have to make use of the rotation to bring out the top 3 notes. You can only use your fingers because the way the hand is constructed is not meant for like lifting to the same degree. Like this one, oh, I'm already shaking. But you have to somehow go to the same level of height. This one obviously cannot. The 4th finger obviously cannot. So we have to use a bit of rotation to help enforce the sound level. So when we play this one, we can do a little bit of like this, like a pad on the keyboard, in my opinion. I'm not sure if this is the right thing, but it feels good. So I will do like this. We will do the padding and pad and pad. Yeah, and then when I do that, I will use a little force to exert on it. But of course, the D is actually the downbeat, so let's not exaggerate that. So afterwards, we have this little detours, I called it. So we have to be sure when do we go back. So at the first one, on bar 13, we start with the G, then we go down to 3 and 1, but actually after that, we go back down every time we come to the limit of our fingers, which is the 5th finger. We go to the 5th and then we come back, the 5th finger and come back, the 5th finger and come back. So I would rather remember the fingerings, the feeling of the fingers, rather than the notes. So I won't remember it's a C, so I go back down. It's an E, so I go back down. This is not repeating. So this makes it hard to remember. I would rather remember that I go to the 5, I go to the 5 again, and the 5 again, and the 5 again. So that will make it easier to execute. It's always better if you think repeatedly rather than think in varied and different ideas every time you execute actually the same kind of pattern. So yeah, this is basically it. And I think I have one last tip on this piece. It's to have the ability to have an inner pulsing. What do I mean by an inner pulsing? Is that when we are playing really fast, we tend to just slip over. Actually, it was like what I did just now. The demonstration I was doing was not exactly very well, because when I play, I only think in terms of a large passage, but I did not define what is the downbeat, so it makes it a little bit rushed and a bit slippery. So if you want it to have a definite pulse and at the same time a clear passage, it's always better that you can think of the downbeat. In bar 1, this is the G, the C on the 3rd beat, and the F on the last beat. So if we can articulate a bit. Of course, not play like this, but more like this. Let me try. Ooh, I lost track. Yeah, when I go up, I'm not so used to it. So that will be something I need to practice then. If you hear, I actually put a little accent, but it's a very, very definite and very fast accent. It's not like that. This is too sluggish. When we practice, or when I practice, I would prefer to make it a very fast and very definite accent. It's like a staccato, or actually like a marcato. So when you exert the force, you exert it very quickly and instantly, but not sluggishly. So if you are used to the downbeats, then you can gradually take it away. It's not like that you take it away as in ignoring it, but it's taken away as in it just stays in your heart, and don't let other people spot that you know it, but they can still feel the pulse. So that is, I think that is always the hardest part about playing music, that you all know everything inside your heart, but you can't do it explicitly to the audience, but very contradictorily, they know that you are doing that. So let's try it again. just now, this long passage, I just lost track of myself. But in the first 10 something bars, I had that pulse in my heart, so it feels a bit more secure. So this is where I need to practice then. Yeah, so I think what is also hard in the first few bars is that you only have one long left hand chord, but you have to think of the pulse on the right hand. What makes it hard is that you don't have any reference point, but you have to do it in your heart. So yeah, I think this one is what is the pain point for this piece. And when it comes to the last few bars, you have a bit more chords on the left hand, so it naturally feels better. Yeah, so that's basically my sharing on this piece. Thanks for watching.